I wish you the same. I hope you have enjoyed this day and the reflections have really permeated your system and your psyche as a Nigerian.
Yeah. I mean, today there are birthdays. Today my daughter is having her first birthday, so happy birthday to her. Spend time with the family and making sure that things are well. So happy birthday to her. The Lord bless and keep her. And today, Gilbert, Nigerians will. If I ask happy independence to people, they'll always say that what is happy about the independence, what is for me, I'm happy. I'm happy that as a country we're 65 years, and this is why I'm happy, Gilbert. I am happy because if you listen to the statement, the speech by President Tinubu, he said at the start of this country in 1960, we had two institutions of higher learning. We had Yaba Tech and we have University College Ibadan. But today we have over 200 institutions of higher learning. That is universities, aside polytechnics and other colleges of education, aside other institutions of higher learning. And he said, I mean, they are mentioned plenty, things, but of course, my bias always be towards education. So for me, I said that just imagine that we still have just two, or we have like say 10. I don't think Malawi has the number of institutions of
No,
higher
we
learning
have.
we have in Plateau State. Malawi as a whole country, I don't think that they have up to the higher institutions of higher learning.
But the
Just in
quality
Plateau,
again.
yeah, just in Plateau alone. Because we have University of just Plateau State Universities as two universities. We have the Bingham Teaching Hospital is a university. I mean, we have plenty institutions of higher learning. So there are a lot of Gilbert. I don't know how you feel about this independence.
Yeah, by the way, let me also wish my very good friend and these people who were born on the 1st of October somehow deserve to be specially celebrated indeed. Um, let me send special shout out and greetings to Mark Bauer, a very industrious friend of mine. He's somebody that is a man of virtue and uprightness, and indeed, I'm taking out the time to, send my regards to him on this um, occasion of his birthday. Well, back to the subject you have raised. I'm more particular about the quality of, what we're giving to our people as education, and it's the number is not something that should um, take the forefront indeed, like Mr. President has taken out the time to. But then again, the sentiment that he has is with the numbers as a symbol of greatness, with the infrastructure, with the facilities.
I would say progress.
So it tells you that um, we're making baby steps, regardless of how terrible things might be. And by the way, just to be able to put his observations into context, 1st October 1960, the population was around 30 million.
Yeah.
Now, right now, we're a country of more than 200 million citizens.
30 million, in fact, that is
So,
what.
you now see, or
Yeah.
300 million as it is, even though we don't have the statistics for a fact, but the estimations are pointing towards
Yeah.
that direction. So, have we grown in leaps and bounds in the way we have built infrastructure to serve our people as we advance? For example, you were giving us the prediction, as highlighted by Shetima, the UNGA,
Yeah.
by 2050, one out of every three black
men.
person would be Nigerian.
Yeah.
So what are the parameters we're putting in place to guide the evolution of our population, in a manner that is befitting of citizens? If we say the US has a ballooning population as well, can we say that our infrastructure is comparable to what they are building for their people, to serve them as it is, be them roads, be them public facilities, like he's mentioning education, the hospitals, that we're talking about. Again, these are areas that he should also be able to factor in. And we may cut him some slack because he is now the president of Nigeria, but at least for under 2 years, So part of the decay, and some might even still argue that he was a senator, he was Lagos governor, and what have you, that he also enjoyed some of the benefits of a Nigerian state. But on a larger scope, he's only governed this country under 2 years. So some of the blames that should be apportioned to him might not necessarily be lying, right in his coffers. And others, again, might argue government is about inheriting the assets
Continuum.
and the liabilities. That's the continuum that you have just mentioned. So, indeed, it's one too many challenges, our journey, but of significance importance is if Nigerians really go back to the history of that Saturday in 1960, that 1st October, where the Union Jack was lowered and the green, white, green that we so profess right now, became a symbol of national unity as it is. How did the people at the time feel? The people who were in that square, when they were seeing that transition, what was it emotionally in terms of the freedom that our heroes past fought for and what have you? So these are indeed issues that Nigerians are very familiar with, and we all have the right to opinions. However, one thing we must all agree is everybody wants to see this country succeed.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see us go through what we're going through. Again, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, and it's only through work. You have to put in work. Prayers doesn't make society work. It doesn't. Prayer is just a lazy approach to getting things done. I'm not saying prayer is not important. It's important, but if you have an exams tomorrow or you have an exams the day after tomorrow, you can't pray throughout the night and expect that you'll pass. Forget all those nonsensical story that someone didn't write anything. It's a fat lie. I mean, those things don't happen. I'm a realist. I mean, it's either one or two. You can't tell me to believe in something that I don't, accept my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, of course, because, he's a historical person, but any other, magic trying to play with my head. Gilbert
By the way, you're wearing a nice coat.
Thank you.
I forgot to mention it.
Thank you, Gilbert. I was talking with a friend, this whole impact of religion, and he told me something that really broke my heart. A dear friend of ours has fallen into the trap of this religious job man, to the point that someone is doing excellent in their career, and then all of a sudden, they just pull out, saying that God told them, "Give me a break." Is God after your progress? The whole thing, starts and ends in the mind. If you mess with anybody's mind, you mess with his whole reality. And I think that is where some of our compatriots are at, unfortunately. We have two guests. We're going to have a really interesting conversation. We have Honorable Dauda Lamba. He has served in different capacities in our dear states, and I dare say that he's a statesman in his own right. He has seen our country, and he's here to tell us. Good evening, Honorable Dauda Lamba. It's good to see you, and thank you for coming. Happy Independence to you, sir.
Good evening, listeners. Good evening, Nigeria. Good evening, Plateau State.
Yeah, and we have, I wanted to say Honorable Santos Larab, but, Santos Larab, Santos Ayuba Larab Stanchak Salt is here with us. Good evening. Thank you so much. Happy Independence to you, sir.
Thank you. A very good evening to all of us here in the studio, and to Nigerians. Happy Independence, and to the listener.
Yeah. I'll begin with you, Santos. I mean, what does independence... independence for me is just sovereignty. It means that we shouldn't wait for the Queen in England or the King or whoever it is for us to take our own decision as a people. So for me, that is independence, it's sovereignty. And whatever happens to our destiny or as a country is left in our own hands. I mean, 1960, what the British just did was that, okay, go, this is your destiny, take it in your own hands. Will you agree with me on that?
Yeah, of course, once you talk about independence, thanks that you're trying to make us also set the stage. And once you talk about independence, first is also a celebration in terms of the memory of a country.
Yeah.
The second part of it is also to show the gratitude in terms of the people, founding heroes and heroines, and then how that day, in terms of the grant of independence out of colonialism for the people who got their independence. For every country in the world, at one point or the other, they were colonized.
Absolutely.
And once you find out, that serves also on a third point, a remembrance. So it serves as a point of memory and reflection for a country. A country now begins to trace its steps from the point of its independence. And then the fact that it's a detachment from domination. But again, the Nigerian independence now bringing into context what we're celebrating. Yes, celebrating sovereignty. But the other question that goes as a flip side is, are we really independent? Yes, you might be independent from an external force, but internally you're enslaved. This is a question that also goes with the sectors of the society.
You mean we are enslaving
Correct.
our own?
People can also be enslaved within their independence.
Is it Nigerians enslaving Nigerians now? Or?
Of course, internal slavery.
Yeah, yeah.
And the internal slavery, when I mention which sectors of the community and the society,
Yeah.
are you economically free? Or there are people who are manipulating the space to their own benefits and the detriment of majority?
Yeah.
Are you politically free? Or it is an adoption where you see dictatorship parading itself under the guise and the umbrella of what I call civil rule. I don't call it democracy. We're not yet democratized. Because the virtues and the indexes or the indices of what you call democracy, it's far leaving the table where you see people who are wearing civilian clothes, but with military mentality, are also invoking the same military sense over people. Are you socially free? Where you now see people, instead of belonging to a country and holding on to the unity of a country in our diversity as a wealth, we are now working with what you call identity crisis. Everybody wants to share an identity to be recognized as belonging. Is it political identity with a color? Is it political identity with a logo? Is it political identity with your ethnic gaps or ethnic clothing? So that if the person who you want to go and see, you're wearing a paraphernalia, that immediately he sees it, he attaches you to his ethnic group, which has also caused problems in Nigeria. Or is it religious identity, where you see people carrying what you call, what is supposed to be the sacred emblem of the practice of their religion?
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
On that, let me ask you this question, and then Gilbert will engage Honorable Dauda. You mentioned religion, you mentioned tribe. Recently, I was having a chat with friends, and this is my conclusion. Religion is not a problem of this country, and I'm making my proposition for you to make comment on. Because if you say religion is the problem, religion is that very idea that most Nigerians find meaning, including my humble self here. Because if you take my Christian faith and belief from me, it's my Christian faith that has taught me to be loving, to be kind, to be sacrificial, to love my neighbor, to be truthful, to be honest, and all of these great ideas that the Christian faith embodies. And but if I hear people pointing to the fact that this same good thing is the problem, I get confused. I'm like, no, it's not the problem. It's maybe how I apply myself to it, or how I manipulate I mean, human beings have always manipulated noble ideas since time immemorial for pecuniary and selfish interests. Do you still agree that religion and tribe is a problem? Because if you take a Mupun man, for example, and take him to Lantang, all of his cultural orientation, his social skills, is based on Mupun culture, and it's a good thing because it's something that has helped him to cohabit with fellow human beings. I'd like to hear your thought.
You see, when I was mentioning religion, I wasn't mentioning religion or ethnic. Nobody chose his ethnic group.
Absolutely.
As a problem. I am mentioning the window, and I'm glad that you mentioned manipulation, but I'll bring you back to that. I'm mentioning it as a vehicle used to facilitate mediocres to dominate the sense of objectivity. When you see people who hold on to religion and hold on to their ethnic cleavage, they are low-level people. When I meet you, I don't ask you what is your religion. I don't ask you what is your ethnic group before I engage with you. It is when you begin to fly those sentiments, then I see. And when I talked about issues of religion in our climb, when you see someone who belongs to a faith, he would want to engrave it on his skin so that by the time you see him, you know that he is from this particular faith. When you see someone using the church, you made mention of something. It is all about indoctrination. And where's the place of indoctrination? It is about playing with the minds of people. Whereas those who are trying to play with your mind and manipulate you know that already you are a liberated soul. And I ask people, when you listen to philosophers, One of it is a music, and people recite it.
Yeah.
When Mali said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, a lot of people are mentally enslaved.
None but
And I take you
ourselves.
again back to the history of religion. Religion is not about salvation. And I challenge anyone. I was given an opportunity to present a paper to young people in a church about youth, civil rule, democracy, and the power of coming together. The owner of the church felt threatened when I spoke. And I told them two things. Religion is of two sides of a coin. The other side is that what brought religion is agriculture. What brought religion is civilization. And those two, so it's not about salvation. And religion has a history. Religion is a belief. If you believe you're in this denomination, this faith, it is your personal belief to your maker. And I ask the question again because Desmond Tutu at some point, I always use it, whether in class or whether in conversation like today, for the public space, is that when he wrote a book in 2007, the title of that book is God a Christian? God is not a Muslim, God is not a Christian, God is a creator of humanity. Because he created all of us in his image. At what point was that departure? The departure was that people now felt that being poised, being religious, let us create a system. And that system, today, almost all denominations, all religions are dominated by what you call doctrines, not the spirituality that would lead people to a God. It's all doctrines. And those doctrines are also spaces for manipulation. Go to churches, go to mosques, you will see that the politics inwards is a very dangerous thing. It gets to a point where you even begin to ask. But again, they are also a product of the society in which you and I live in.
Absolutely.
So for me, is that people should be able to drop the scales off their eyes. Religion will not take you anywhere. It's your personal belief in a God. And because he has created you in his image. And what is the image of God? The image of God is that of love. The image of God is that of his kindness and mercies over everyone. The image of God is the open heart to which he accepts everyone to your point of second of death. If you give, and then you also say, I am giving you not because I want anything from you. How many of us can give God anything? But again, today, people know you collect from the stables, you collect from the congregations, and yet, like you said, how many of the poor people can go to those schools established by religious bodies? How did they build it? Anybody who paid a naira for a block in any of those schools should be given a window where he's married, whether you're an infant, whether you're an indignant person, whether you're an orphan, whether for as long as you meet that quota of merit within your church, you should be given that angle. Because many of them, their parents were gardeners, their parents were drivers, their parents were cooks to missionaries, and they schooled in good schools. So I think let me hold my breath. So that at least we can also go on with the discussion.
What a way to take off on the conversation. But Honorable Lamba, let me get your sense of what independence mean and what nationhood or what a country is. Is it merely about the reflections of our geographical existence and the maps that guide us and separate us from the countries beyond our borders, or what exactly it is? And have we indeed attained nationhood in your opinion?
Thank you, Gilbert. In my own view, independence is the creation of a new life for a group of people within a defined entity, a defined territory like Nigeria. So when we're talking of independence, we're talking of the necessity, to own yourself, to exert yourself, to express yourself, and to extend yourself to a certain level of human acceptability. That is my view of independence. Whether or not we are independent, true to type, is a subjective matter, and which can be put into some context. One, let me say, Nigeria is independent, truly speaking. It is independent because from 1st of October 1960 to date, we have had the responsibility of doing our things the way we want to do them, with who we want to do with, and how we want to do them. Now, what am I saying? Prior to October 1st, 1960, of course, we were colonized by the British. What did they come with? They came with carrots in one hand and then, stick in the other hand.
Explain that, please.
Carrots, they try to attract us, to accept them as friends. So in my view, that is deceitful. It's very deceitful. They came through that means. And I said, the other hand was a stick they were holding. Why were they holding the stick? Because they believed that we were not going to accept their carrots because of our sociological differences. And so, they came well prepared for us. If we take the carrots, hook, line, and sinker, to God be the glory to them. If we don't, they have sticks, which they will use it mercilessly on us, and which eventually was used. Because when they came through the ocean areas, the riverine, I think through Calabar,
Lagos, the coastal area.
the coastal areas. And they began to move inwards, hinterland, because those at the coastal line were already had the experience of mixing with foreigners because of
Trade.
trade.
Yeah.
So they didn't find much resistance, and so they began to move inwards. And when they got into the hinterland, it was when they discovered that the system was organized, and therefore they needed to use some subversive means. At that point, there were kingdoms. And you know how the Benin Kingdom, you know, how the Oyo Kingdom, Oyo Empire, Kanem Borno. Well, that one is a little far. I'm talking of the closer,
The coast.
yes, to the coast. There were some resistance, and which gave them, the insight to believe that indeed what they needed was not only a stick, but some serious measure of, expedition. They went back, came again with some trading, tried to attract people through trading. You recall the Niger
Royal Niger Company.
Royal Niger Company, and how they used it. So they discovered that Nigeria had an organized system of administration, system of cohabitation, system of interdependence. People were relating based on social, community relations. And so they became confused at a point in time. But however, the human being, by God's creation, is susceptible to manipulations. In some point, they used divide and rule. They tried to pitch some group against the others. And that was how they got into the hinterland, up to the point they crossed the Niger. You remember what happened when they came to the north?
The indirect rule.
Yes, the system was more solidified than what they got around the coastal areas. And so they tried as much as possible to manipulate the system. It wouldn't work. So they said the best thing for them to do, not to rock the boat and lose what they have already gained, was to allow this set of people, to be integrated while they are left with their own special identities they have presented. So in my view, and what I truly believe in, is that no matter what you do, no matter what you say, and whatever you see and say about independence, Nigeria to me is today independent. Independent not because we were left to hang our own national flag, but independence in the real sense that we are left to determine for ourselves what we wanted. We were practicing parliamentary system.
Right.
because of the independence, our forefathers sat down and looked at it and said, oh, what do we do? Is this parliamentary system, going to help us? Of course, to me, I believe that parliamentary system is still the best. But our forefathers, in their wisdom, thought that if they continued with parliamentary system, Nigeria wouldn't be seen to have gained full independence. In my view, I may be wrong.
There will be some touch of the colonial
Yes.
system in it.
So they wanted to run away from, to detach themselves completely, and which they succeeded. However, I initially said independence is a subjective term. My friend here said that there are domestic independence. There are what we call international independence. There are what we call subjective independence. The kind of independence the British government, give to her colonial, states, in my view, is better than what the French,
well, many people would still argue with you on that issue, because if you look at their policies on migration and what have you, the French seem to have benefited. If you look at the influence of black Francophone Africans in France and their successes, many would say it's not comparable to what we have between Nigeria and the British.
Well, to a large extent, we are talking of assimilation.
The policy of assimilation.
The policy of assimilation. The French, in my own view, using that system is also very, very dangerous, because they wanted to continue to make their colonial states, continues to be subjective to their own whims and caprices. So whether or not you hold the same view with me, which is allowable, if you disagree, it's okay. But I still believe that the British system, in my view, of granting independence is much more better than the French. However, that is not even the main issue. The main issue is, are we truly independent? There is no colonial state that can be said to be truly independent. But there are levels of independence, and it depends on how you manage your domestic system. America was colonized by the British,
of course.
but today they work shoulder to shoulder, if not even ahead of Britain. Britain looks up to America to take certain decisions. They cannot take decisions on their own without, minding what will be the outcome of that decision. How will it be viewed by the Americans? So the Americans look at themselves first as Americans, not as former colonialists. But today, former colonized state. But today, is Nigeria looking at itself that same way?
Yeah, but someone will argue that America is over 200 years, Nigeria is just 65 years.
Time matters, really.
Yeah.
Yes, because system develops and mature with time. But, if you look at the conceptual, democratic precepts of America, when it started, with how we started, even though we still have some influence of these, advanced democracies over what we do, but there are some certain, ingredients of democracies that we didn't imbibe even at the beginning of
So the framework was faulty.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, let me come to Salt, Santos Ayuba Larabtan Atanshag. You belong to the academia, and for me, I have problem with people like and you're a history professor. I'm very thankful for that. People like you always teach students in university that blame the Berlin Conference of 1885. Our problem is colonialism. Our problem is neo-colonialism. And for me, I've come to understand that all of this, I don't know, I look at those arguments as an absurd argument, because we choose who to conduct trade with as Nigerians. We choose who to sell our crude oil to. We can choose to sell to the Russians. We can choose to sell to the Americans. We can to anybody. And for me, that is independence. why are we so consumed with the thought that there's somebody somewhere that is standing in the way of progress of our country and will bring all manner of, argument to max our ineptitude and maybe I would say our inability to take responsibilities for our own action as a people?
You see, I'm glad that you're also bringing something that I teach, even just on Tuesday. Today is Wednesday?
Yeah.
Tuesday,
Yesterday.
Wednesday,
Yes.
at the undergraduate and also at the postgraduate level. My students who might be listening to this will tell you my approach when I teach issues of the Berlin Conference, and then when I teach them what generated the issues of the Berlin Conference. And you see, when the Honorable here was speaking, at least in his discourse, was coming back, we were also connecting in terms of our dependent nature to the colonial masters. I will always ask my students, what is common in the Commonwealth?
I mean, it's just a British...
No. The common thing in the Commonwealth is the enslavement of the minds of the colonies to the stool of the British Queen.
Yeah.
And what is the problem? The problem is that the leaders who have governed Nigeria lack the willpower to brace it. The simple example you saw with the presidents of the French, 3 of them, Burkina, Mali,
and Niger.
and they looked at Macron because of still the exploitative tendency, even of the assimilation and the dominance. But yet they still have some other things to do. What is wrong with African leaders for failing to develop what you call a common currency across Africa? Individual rivalry, individual foolishness. AU, go into the documents and find out. The EU copied from the AU. The AU started the issues of coming together under OAU. The Morocco Black, the Casablanca group.
Yeah.
And what was the problem then? Who also made sure that that didn't work? Same Gaddafi.
Libya.
As at that time.
The big brother.
When it was transformed into AU, then the EU now also took EU as a name from the AU. They knew that if the AU becomes, OAU becomes AU, African unity would destroy all their strongholds. Today, it is us who are copying again from the EU. And I tell people, go and read the documents of the EU, read the documents of the OAU then, and read the thinking of the leaders. Nigeria in its own bloc, Ghana, personal, individual rivalries, looking at states, even if the ideas are coming from a small state, nation state, balkanized before then. And then I ask people, why didn't they un-balkanize Africa? Couldn't they have done that? Look at the problems we're faced with.
It may be a possibility.
Boundaries is going to be too far. Boundaries adjusted, taking people into one country, Benin. Yoruba, you sleep in Badagry, you brush your mouth in
Dahomey.
In Cotonou, in Seme, Benin. You sleep, there are northerners in Ghana, and you also see them Hausas and the rest. So by the time you see that, then trickle it down to what was inherited, independence, creation of states, the same balkanization, not consulting with the people, not knowing. Here in Plateau, taking people to go and serve in, because basically the reasons is that we believe that what they created is God created. And because the leaders who have governed us basically lack, they would rather not please the people they're governing and please the people out there because they want to be seen in their good books. I always ask people again the question, what is special about Chatham House? Don't you have places that are better than Chatham House? NIPS here. What will stop you from coming to organize? And all presidents in Nigeria all run to Chatham House. Who are you talking to in Chatham House? You want to govern us. You're going to Chatham House to discuss, and they say everything discussed in Chatham House stays in Chatham House like what? So who is the slave? Nigerians. Who is the slave? I'm coming. The other part of it is also very simple. Simple in the sense that we think that give and take, we had perfect systems, near perfect rather. Let me requalify it. Within, there were governance systems. I think it was on this, no, not on this show, but one of the shows here with Yomi Kosoko.
When
I was also explaining to him, the Portuguese first saw street lights in Benin.
Yeah.
That was in the 14th century.
Yeah, I mean, even realism art.
Yes.
Realism art.
Not to talk less about our artifacts, material culture, that today are domiciled in the museums across
Europe.
and they tell us what they want to give us. So most of the times, I say it is the willpower. There is no country at some point that didn't go into our own isolation. It might not be total isolation.
Yeah.
But again, that isolation is to allow the country to rebrand itself, to rethink its steps. And when people talk about America is 200 and something years, just because you mentioned it, before I forget, America didn't take 200 and something years to become a leader. America also went through civil war.
Absolutely.
From 1776,
Yeah.
by 1824, America was also already in industrialization.
Yeah.
By 1850, it was a major player in terms of air power and also technological developments. By 1850, calculate the years from 1776 to 1850, 64 years. China, I made an example this morning on Montage Radio in
I mean,
Abuja.
40s, just the 40s.
48.
Yeah.
Before you even come to Deng Xiaoping, Mao Zedong,
Yeah, Mao Zedong.
go to India, 47. Pakistan, Rwanda, 1994. Even with the carnage that the same white people brought over the same people, brothers and sisters, by just using. And when he talked about divide and rule, that is again the same thing that was handed down to the issues of indirect rule, the issues of direct rule, the colony of Lagos, and this is the same thing that is also causing the problems in this country. And yet, our leaders have refused to rejig, refine, and reframe these same issues that are causing problems. So they asked, and I said, the young generation already, and when I say the young generation, leave all of those that are in their 50s upwards. Tell me from those who are 45, okay, let's say 45 upwards. At 45 years, at least Nigeria was just about 20 years.
Yeah.
When you were bet, at least you were of the sense, the point of knowledge. At 50, 15 years. At 60, you were 5 years. And yet, the generation down, because of the destruction of our history, because those in power wanted to hide their misdemeanors and their stealings, all of it, these people don't understand what we're speaking to. When you ask them the history of Nigeria, they will tell you, yes, I know it's October 1st. When you begin to ask them the trajectory, they don't know, because at primary school, they now watered down history in 2007 into civic education. Civic education is good, but civic education should stand in terms of rights and responsibilities of citizens.
Yeah.
Government is good for people to understand the kind of structures in the political setting of their country. Is it fit for their country? Is Nigeria supposed to be running a hybrid, a jollof rice kind of concept of governance? No. Because the makeup of the Nigerian state, even as the British met it, would have incorporated a House of Lords, because you have traditional rulers and you respect them. It would have incorporated a House of Theologians if you want.
Yeah.
It would have incorporated a military. But tell me what system we run today. The military is inside. The police, internal security, traditional rulers, religious leaders, and the rest. Did people vote for you, or the pastors? Is it the pastors that voted for you, or the imam? They come, they put their hands where, so there is only Christians and Muslims. What about other religions? And then Section 10 of the Constitution says that Nigeria is secular. And secularity means that all religions must be respected. All people, irrespective of your religion.
Creed or faith, yeah.
Yeah, just have a creed. If my creed is to worship a stone, I should be respected.
Absolutely.
As a Nigerian.
Yeah.
But again, we are bifocaling issues of religion, and that is also the points of crisis.
Just very briefly,
Yeah.
sovereignty and suzerainty, all of the things you have said, in my head, I'm trying to process it and arrive at where we are. Are we sovereign or suzerain? Again, because you've basically dismantled everything that there is in my head about this.
Yeah, suzerainty in itself, sovereignty talks about independence, being independent. Suzerainty, as it is, it has also its own kind of definitions. You can be independent, but again, there are powers who are also sovereigns over you. But again, you see, now what we're looking at is not only neocolonialism in the form of only Britain. It is a multifaceted neocolonialism. And that neocolonialism in itself is about the major players globally. dictating and manipulating the sectors of our economy, knowing that Nigeria in itself is a gold mine. Look at Congo, DRC Congo. DRC Congo will never know peace. Why? Now the same thing has been transferred to Zamfara. Gold. So for me, the difference, very thin. But again, it is also for the people and the leadership to understand which one they stand for. If we're talking about sovereignty as a part of independence, like he said, Honorable, is that it is a relative term, but the relativity of that term should go in percentage. If you go to a class and you get 70%, I don't need to get 100. I would always tell my students, you want an A, just try to get a 70. If you're using a 5-point grading system, get 70. Anybody who wants to get 100, get. We are all in A, 5 points. I want to use my 30 marks to go do some other things. That you want to read your book and die in the book. I want to use my 30%. So I get my A. And you don't need to get A's in all your courses. Get A's, get B's, and then stop at C's. It will take you from A, will change your C into B. And then at the end of the day, you graduate. If you want the 2-1, you graduate with the 2-1. You don't need to get all A's. So you need to also balance yourself. And that is what we're calling for. Nigeria at 65, every empire, every kingdom is 100 years. So by virtue of the analysis, Nigeria has already peaked. Would have peaked at the age of 50.
Yeah.
But again, we're calling it down. We're already taking a quarter of the remaining part of 100 years.
But
let's see.
But do you have hope that we're going to reach that pinnacle? Because here's the thinking I see with most Nigerian leaders, and in fact, most Nigeria. They think that Nigeria will cease to exist if Bola Tinubu doesn't become president. It's just an example. I'm not saying they think that if I die, Nigeria will cease. And I'm like, wait a minute. As long as there's life, Nigeria will always be. I don't want a situation that Nigeria will be one of those Babylon of the past, just like Zeus who read of those gods, in books. I want Nigeria to be a reality. As long as there will be humans running this world, there should be Nigeria. But what kind of information or education are we going to bring to screw this kind of thinking in people's head? And I'm talking about patriotism. Patriotism is demanding accountability from leadership and for you to love your own country while demanding accountability as well.
You see the Berlin Conference in itself, let's go there as a takeoff point. 1884, 1885, a tea party, tea and coffee and cake, I tell students. A few people sat down, 14 European countries, invited America. America said, look, we're not too much interested in this, but don't touch Liberia. Ethiopia fought her way and said, you can't conquer us because our king deals with lions, not human beings. And the Italians felt scared. Mussolini. And again, that was also one of the issues that made them to come to Berlin Conference to settle their rivalries. Let's keep our fights here, but show us your area of influence. And then so that we don't fight there. And that's why you see the British took the coast, Nigeria, Benin, deepness, Ghana, because of the depth of the coast and the ships would bet. And then they took the Mediterranean and Egypt, where you have the Suez Canal and the Mediterranean, and they were a naval power. You don't talk about Nigeria from 1960. You talk about Nigeria from the colony of Lagos in 1864, when Dosimo ceded by emotion the whole of Lagos to the colonialists. And then you talk about the Southern Protectorate and then the Northern Protectorate. So Nigeria has already lived 100 years.
Absolutely. Before even the
So now what we're speaking to, historically and by dating, Nigeria is in 145 years.
Revisionist history.
Nigeria is in 1914, because Nigeria celebrated 100 years without purpose. Because at that 100 years, in 2014,
centenary,
Nigeria would have taken a bold leap. It would have been 16 years, 21 years now. Nigerians would have found a way. But because people think that these individuals, and there is no individual, I stand to be corrected, that was bet in 1914 that is still alive here in Nigeria. If there is, then I think that icon should be celebrated. So Nigeria would outlive every one of us.
Absolutely.
Whether in its form now as a geographical entity or in its balkanized state, in terms of the rights of different groups to either stay or go, I don't have a problem. The North, you want to go, you go. The Southeast, you want to go, you go. That is when people will begin to respect the North, respect the Middle Belt, respect the Southerners, respect, because as at then, you know that no segment of Nigeria can live on its own. So you now begin to show respect to other parts. So Nigeria would outlive us. But again, what kind of inheritance are we giving the younger generation? That's my problem.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about having a hope, I do have a hope, because even hope in life has an end, which is death.
Yeah.
And I'm already prepared for it.
Okay. Gilbert, yeah.
Yeah, Honorable, I would like for us to talk about leadership and where we are right now. Just to set the ball on that sense, I'd like to take a quote from Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, and this is what he said, that we should think about the possibility of developing a nuclear weapon in the form of a black bomb in demonstration of greatness, even though our leaders might even use it against us, given their records. Isn't it possible, indeed, to make our country stand in the Committee of Nations shoulder to shoulder? He made this statement under the IBB administration. Of course, he was foreign minister at the time and what have you. Do you think that our leadership, with the exhibition of impunity that we've seen and utter disrespect that we have the ability to manage our affairs from now at least until the foreseeable future? And can we handle something more figuratively, like the black bomb Akinyemi has mentioned?
Well, leadership, in my view, as far as Nigeria is concerned, is the greatest inhibitor to our progress. It inhibits us from looking at things objectively. It inhibits us from projecting ourselves sufficiently adequately. It inhibits us from looking at ourselves as brothers and sisters. Leadership is the main problem of Nigeria, and indeed Africa. So, Black Bond, who will drive the vehicle of achieving this Black Bond? Who? He said that our leaders looked at themselves as individuals, not as leaders. They look at themselves as individuals. Because if you look at yourself as an individual, not as a leader, when you are in a leadership position, you have failed. Yeah. You have failed. Because leadership comes with responsibilities. It comes with expectations. It comes with obligation. And it desires you, to take it up with pride, commitment, and a sense of drive. So, of course, some people have attempted to have a black bond. He mentioned Gaddafi. When the issue of African Union came up, he resisted it. But before he died, he was the one that was trying to project
a United
States of Africa. So you can see the fallacies of life. At a point, he thought that those people who were doing it or who were sponsoring or trying to achieve that were not supposed to be. Even if he was convinced that that was desired, but because it was in him that initiated or was part of the initiators, and he had the ability, he has the financial muscle, to thwart those efforts. He did. And then at a point, again, he wanted to raise it up. Would you expect those that he tried to undermine will accept him to achieve that? No. So he rightly said that our leaders are selfish. Our leaders are not patriotic. So I am skeptical. I don't know when and where and who will drive this vehicle of achieving a bonded Africa.
The worry is, okay, we're going to the phone lines, really.
Yeah, we're going to take a break, really. Yeah. Gilbert, let's take a break. When we come back, the show will continue. It's still the special Independence edition of Nigeria Sunset, and we have Santos Ayuba Larab Tanchak Salt is here with us, and Honorable Dauda Lamba. They're all here, and it's really an interesting conversation. When we come back, the show will continue. Stay here.
Playing non-stop hits. This is JFM 101.9.
I, Architect Samuel Nanchang Jato, Secretary to the Government of Plateau State, join the nation in celebrating His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR and His Excellency the Executive Governor of Plateau State, Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang, on this historic occasion of Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary. I extend warm wishes to the State Executive Council, the Legislature, the Judiciary, and the good people of Plateau State and Nigeria for a joyous and memorable celebration. This milestone calls for a renewed commitment to our collective progress, peace, and well-being. I salute the courage and sacrifice of our forefathers who labored selflessly to preserve our nation's unity and sovereignty. As we mark this day, may we remain steadfast in building a nation where every citizen can thrive, prosper, and fulfill their potential. Happy 65th Independence Anniversary, Nigeria. Architect Samuel Nanchang Jato, Secretary to the Government of Plateau State, announcing.
Jos Sarikindaria is back again with multiple laughs. The Independence Edition live in Jos, happening on Sunday, 5th October at Means Palace, Rayfield, Jos, Plateau State. It's going to be a laugh marathon as we will be having rib-cracking performances from Sarikindaria, Forever, Abaria.com, ATM, Officer Wos, Shortcut, Aminu the Comedian, MC Bob, Omadan, Funny Razak, MC JP, Hilarious Sonny, MC Youngie, Retired Madman, Kubi, Licking Mouth, MC 2.5, MC Surface, Yas King, and Quaro Band. Time, Red Carpet, 2 p.m. Main event, 3 p.m. No African time. Tickets, regular, 3,000 Naira. VIP, 10,000 Naira. Tables, gold, 250,000 Naira. Premium, 500,000 Naira. For tickets and inquiries, call 0916 9966 659. This event is proudly sponsored by Nigerian Breweries, Baba Rice, D Utensils, Osiju Event World, Vibe, and Descent. Powered by Edge Multimedia and packaged by Quaro Band. Media partner, JFM.
We stand as a people with one song and one voice.
The Executive Chairman, Riam Local Government Council, Honorable Bature Satishwa, on behalf of the management, Legislative Arm, Traditional Council, staff, and the entire peaceful people of Riam Local Government area, heartily felicitate with the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Ahmed Bola Tinubu, Executive Governor of Plateau State, and the captain of the time is now philosophy, His Excellency Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang, the Deputy Governor, Our Excellency Ngo Josephine Pio, Speaker, Plateau State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Daniel Nanlong, members of the National and State Assemblies, Judiciary, and all Nigerians on this auspicious celebration of our nation's 65th independence anniversary. As we commemorate our beloved country's annual Independence Day celebration, a nation bound by freedom, peace, and unity, this remarkable day provides yet another opportunity for us as Nigerians to reflect on our shared values and prosperity. Indeed, the journey to nationhood has not been easy, but we remain steadfast in the sacrifices of our heroes to build a strong and prosperous nation. As we celebrate this special day, Riam Local Government Council remains committed to aligning with the vision of Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutfwang of creating a Plateau state in which all citizens can thrive in dignity, peace, freedom, and prosperity. Happy Independence Day, Nigeria. God bless Riam Local Government area. God bless Plateau State. God bless Federal Republic of Nigeria. Announcer Davis Amba, Head of Information and Public Relations, Riam Local Government Council.
Playing non-stop hits. This is JFM 101.9.
Yeah, well, glad you're still here. Welcome from that commercial break. This is a special Independence edition of the program Nigeria Sunset. We have Santos Ayuba Larab Stanchak Salt is here with us, and Honorable Dauda Lamba is here with us as well. Gilbert, you are
I wanted for you to, react to the dying spirit for the quest of a better nation. Every Nigerian you talk to on the street, indeed wants to see things change. However, you've served in various capacities. You're part of, effectively, the ruling class, if we may say. How do you respond to dissent when citizens think and feel that policies and decisions of government aren't going the way of the people, and that there's the need to challenge the system, and yet the government attempts to suppress these issues? And by the day, it looks like when governments take decisions, citizens are losing the right to challenge these decisions.
Well, Gilbert, you see, serving in government doesn't make you someone who, well, of course I have served in government at various levels and at different times. But the positions I held are subservient to the powers of somebody. Like a commissioner. In court, you're part of the policy makers. Okay? Because you sit at the state executive council to consider policies and shun out those policies. But even when policies are enunciated, there is a supervening power that single-handedly can redirect, can change, can remodel such policies without recourse to the Executive Council. That is my experience. So serving, especially in Nigeria, where you hardly find people resigning positions based on principles of incompatibility with in court, the ruler. I'm using ruler here in very technical terms, you know. So it's a vicious cycle of, you know, people who look at things, you know, from the perspective of self. Our leaders are very, very selfish. And therefore, what do we need to keep these leaders on their toes? We need a vibrant citizenry. And you cannot have a vibrant citizenry that is illiterate, completely illiterate. I don't know what the level of our literacy now, the percentage of literacy.
It's over 63% now.
So would a 63% illiterate citizenry, where do you go? These are a set of people who will not be able to, who don't have the capacity to even know what policies of government are. Not to talk of how they will check the implementation of the policies or the efficacies of the policies. So we are in a unless our leaders are ready to bring very, very sharp improvement in our educational system with a view to reducing this high level of illiteracy for the purpose of achieving a very, very discernible population that will drive growth and development, we will not be able to go anywhere. However, let me go back to a point Ponsak raised. Hope. As Thomas Paine would always say, that hope is the greatest wealth.
Yeah.
Without hope, you even as individual cannot grow.
Yeah.
Without hope, somebody lying on the hospital bed critically will not rise the next day. Hope keeps people going. And therefore, it is this hope that is in me that is driving me to believe that Nigeria would one day change. All these countries who have mentioned that have developed, China, the Mao Zedong, the father of modern China, they say, came from a village. The only thing he knew was farming of rice.
Which is the common trade of Chinese.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was all he knew. because he grew up in it, he saw his great-grandparents, his parents, and he came to him here. Just familiar. He said, how do I now make this, my local village, occupation, make China great?
Yeah.
He introduced an agricultural system that met the growing of rice, a national policy. That's how he started. And today, China has diversified into so many areas. In fact, they are one of the leading, what do you call it? This
Tech, science and
technology.
Yeah.
I mean, if not for China, most Nigerians wouldn't use a smartphone.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Absolutely.
So, Gilbert, Nigeria's leadership question, in my view, is something that you and I, and those of them out there, should sit down. We should have a conference to really sit down and see what kind of leadership do we even need as a nation. What? Because, you see, with due respect, we have a presidential system, which in my view is very, very costly. Nigeria has the capacity to absorb those paraphernalia of a presidential system if it is managed properly, the way a presidential democracy is supposed to be managed. But today, we brought in so many other unnecessary, paraphernalia, coupled with the greedy nature of our leadership. Today, you find a member of the House of, a member of the legislature being a contractor,
Yeah, thank you.
being an employer of labor, being a policy maker, being a lawmaker, being a judge. So, what kind of a system are we running? It doesn't seem to have demarcations. I'm even as a literate person and as a lawyer, I get confused at some points whether there is demarcation between the executive and the legislature. And in your own view, is there such glaring, demarcation? You can, a member of the parliament will be speaking with authority on issues that border on executive powers. And nobody gets out to challenge him, even from the executive arms. So leadership, in my view, particularly in Nigeria, should be redefined. And who redefines it? Who will redefine it? Us.
Yeah.
Let's agitate for a national conference to look at just leadership, because it is a major problem. If we do that, and we come, everybody is complaining now. Everybody, including those in government.
Right.
So, if everybody is complaining, and we certainly know that our major problem is leadership, why can't we sit down and look at it?
I mean, it's
So-
really, yeah.
So, leadership question in Nigeria and Africa as a whole requires some redefinition. It's not the kind of leadership we see happen in Britain, happening in Germany, in the US. It's not. It's not what we see in those areas. When you ask somebody, they will tell you that these people are white. White what? White? Civilization started in Africa. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
Most of these things were taken from Africa.
In fact, Homo sapiens, which started from
I
Africa.
learned that even the person who created mathematics is an African.
A lot of inventions.
Inventions in
Yeah.
Africa.
Well-
So, but were they different Africans from us? How and where did we leave those, precepts of understanding,
Yeah.
of leadership, that today somebody will want to die on presidential seat?
Yeah.
If Ponsak gets to governor now, which we want him to be in the next few years,
Amen.
he would want to be there for life.
No. Well, let's open the phone lines. We've been having a chat with Honorable Dauda Lamba and Santos Ayuba Larab Stanchak Salt.
Yeah, maybe
well.
just a quick one.
Yeah.
You know, when he was also talking, we're all talking. We actually misplaced the literacy rate, which I doubt too, in Nigeria, as at even from 2022 to 2025, is claimed to have been, and it is, so-called 65% of literacy rate, adult literacy, from 15 years right up. But again, you see, the contextualization of the illiteracy rate of Nigeria is that for 1 in every 3 Nigerians is illiterate. Then begin to imagine the impact of that 1 illiterate on the other 2. You know that it will definitely change the dynamics.
Especially if he has a loud voice.
Correct.
Because
the other part of it is that as much as I doubt these figures, is also contextualized in the number of what you call the dependent young. And here you're looking at the dependent young in the Nigeria's population now, multidimensionally poor people, and then the youths who are dependently young, over 163 million based on the UN standards. And then based on another projection, it puts it at 172 million. Then begin to do the subtraction from. Then you will find the gaps even in the data we fly in this country. Whether by MBS or whatever, you find out that these data are sexed up. And they are not real data in terms of what you can rely on. Because I doubt if our literacy rate in Nigeria.
65%?
Yes. That's what 2025 is telling you from 2022, from 63 to 65. So we needed to also put this in perspective because we are taught that the illiteracy rate was 63 and the rest.
Thank you. Well, 08121877777 or you call 09055666699. Turn down the volume of your radio or you turn it off completely and then you tell us the name and where you're calling from. Very important for you to do that, Gilbert.
The conversation is on Facebook. It's at JFM Live, on X JFM Jos.
Yeah, let's take calls. Good evening. Thank you for calling. Tell us your name. Happy Independence to you.
Nothing like happy. Not everybody is happy, please. So I'm Desmond from Baikeladi.
We're listening to you, Desmond.
Yes. Are we to celebrate the Nigerian systematic failure, or are we to celebrate the low development that we have used to have every tenor in the low key? I don't know what to celebrate. Because let me tell you, see, many countries are growing. Like, for example, now, how can a IDP man celebrate this 65 years? Someone in IDP camp, someone that have lost his property in his farm, someone that doesn't have any food to put for mouth now. How can that person celebrate now? Waiting that person will now celebrate with Nigerians. Now the president will be making some statement that there are improvements in the 65 years. Yes, there's no doubt about it, a little. But we're supposed to pass this stage that we are now. So what are we going to celebrate now? Like, for example, now, the thing that happened in Kwara, those of recent, how can those people now celebrate the independence that we are talking about in this country? It's quite unfortunate. Thank you.
Yeah, well, this real concerns that everyday Nigerians are facing. Thank you for your call. Good evening. Thank you for calling. Okay. Good evening. Thank you for calling. Tell us your name and join the conversation, please.
Good evening. Nice work. Happy New Month. Happy Independence to everybody.
Same to you. Tell us your name. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I still have hope in this country. I've not lost my hope, but let the president and the other governors do the needful, because people are saying that what are you going to celebrate? Is it insecurity? Is it kidnapping? Is it hunger in the land? Look at what is happening. People are dying of hunger, and look at insecurity. Look at kidnapping everywhere. But me, I still have hope in this country that one day, someday, this country will get better. We have a lovely evening in place.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for calling. Tell us your name and join the conversation, please.
Hello, Mr. Ponsakan. It's been a while. My name is Mark. I'm calling from...
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, Mark.
I want to commend my friend, Larab, and the honorable. See, as people are saying, for me personally, what am I celebrating? We say we got independent from Britain, and we are copying American system. In America, if you are in a state, you are an American. They don't discriminate. But here in Nigeria, I cannot go to Kano and get employment or get position. So what are we celebrating? Is that independent? Are we independent? We have enslaved ourselves in this country. And most of us are not independent. It's only the big guys are independent because they have everything. So for us, we don't have everything. We don't have everything like the other colleagues have said. Many people are in the IDP camp. Are they going to celebrate? Celebrate what? So this country, I think our legislators too, they are not making headway. The senators and the House of Reps should be part-time. Other countries that are practicing parliamentary, like China, like Australia, Canada, they are doing well. So why can't we go to that? So thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Gilbert.
Yeah, Prince Lucky Unana says our leaders are not serious. Nandom Wiep, at a point, it was said that Nigerians were the happiest people on earth despite being stressed out. But I'm not sure if that research is true in recent times. The economic depression is biting many. Daniel Dong says Nigerians are not free. Can you imagine on Independence Day, fuel has moved from 900 to 920 and 950 naira. Caretaker increased house rent like heavy rain. People staying for 5 months without lights. Dan Fankun says the audio, that has been fixed up, I'm pretty sure. Daniel D. Dong says, hey, finally I can watch my people live. Well done, my people. And we have this one from Jibrin Azeh, who says, one of the greatest highlights of my Nigerian citizenship is our resilience, rich cultural diversity, and the never give up spirit of our people. Nensirio Kira says, well done, presenters and the guest. I want to agree completely with Mr. Santos that every region in Nigeria should go its way and be independent. For how long can we keep on deceiving one another? Comrade Daus Longat says, what we need now is to see Nigeria improve by the way of increasing security to protect the common man. Don Z says, I believe in Nigeria with good leadership, a security system that works, constant power supply, good healthcare system, thriving and stable education without ASU strike, and a currency that does not fluctuate like the British weather is possible. Nandom Wiep says, at a point it was said that, we took this earlier, Izang Asi, for this country to grow to a stronger nation, both the leaders and the followers need to be patriotic. Godon Onyovosan says, if we want to grow as a stronger nation, we should always do the needful, both our leaders and the followers. Gobat Thank God says, well done to the guest. At least a step has been taken. Nigeria is developing, looking back at 1960 to today. Sandy Mwanle, let everyone respect his or her opinion without forcing anyone to believe in their opinion or religion or a political party. Daniel Arin, citizenship as defined by the Constitution should be respected, and again, the duties of the citizens as well stipulated in the Constitution. If carefully observed, it gives the ideal meaning of citizens of a country that works. Matur Samuel says, good evening everyone in the studio. As a citizen, I tried my best always to abide by rules and regulations. That's the Constitution that guides us as Nigerians. But the irony is that the foundation on which this was built upon is completely faulty. Likita Golkatsin, truly we need a working country, a country where the safety of these citizens is the priority, a country where our politicians work for the interest of the masses, not themselves. Mafia Luka, a thoughtful way to look at this, is the highlights of Nigerian citizenship. One of the greatest highlights of being a Nigerian is resilience and diversity. Despite economic, political, and social challenges, Nigerians have a unique ability to adapt. Dimas Bala, Nigeria is free from the colonial masters and becomes independent on this day. But unfortunately, our citizens are still living in bondage.
All right, gentlemen, please go ahead and give your response. You've heard from the brilliant comments of our audience. Please go ahead and give your response.
From the comments of our listeners, it would appear that we have a meeting point. And what is that meeting point? The meeting point is our unity. It appears also that Nigeria is on the path of growth and development. However, I want to say without fear of contradiction that there is no nation today that doesn't suffer from one form of inadequacy or the other. Even in America today, that is regarded as one of the safest states, you find people taking guns and killing massively. Those are part of the challenges of America. Criminality is not something that a leadership or government can completely stem out. Criminality is an organized, form of behavior by miscreants in the society. And they would always to take you by surprise. They don't expose themselves. They don't say we are going to strike here or do this. They take you by surprise. So we have a lot of insecurity challenges, but beneath it, what we should do as citizens in collaboration with our leadership is for us to rise up to the occasion. I remember when we were growing up in the village, every visitor to the village was declared to the leadership. The chief, the local chief. If a visitor visits me,
he takes him to.
I will take him to the local chief. I have a visitor today. This is what he has come to do. And possibly even tell the chief how many days he was going to spend. But today, all those benevolent acts of communality has been eroded. Nobody seems to care about anything. All we care about is how do we access national cake and take it, without recourse to laws and orders. Stealing, massive stealing. In fact, even people in secondary school today, in our universities, will tell you, when I get there, I'll do more than what so person has done. So his ambition is to get there and steal. Therefore, what do we do as a nation? Let's try as far as possible to strengthen our sanction system. Those institutions that are responsible for checking and balancing these misdemeanors. If we don't do that, I'm sorry, we'll just be jumping in one place. Okay. Finally, I can see from the comments that the point of convergence is the hope that we have all been talking about. Everybody is saying we should not lose hope. However, celebration is for the happy person. You don't expect someone who is being hit by an attack of bandits to celebrate. Maybe last year he was happy and he celebrated last year's independence. But today, like what one of the commentators said, that how do you expect those people who were affected recently by certain sad development, celebrate? Of course, we don't expect them to celebrate. Rather, we would want to also join them in their moment of sorrows. So, generally speaking, it is a responsibility that is bestowed on us by nature for us to collectively keep hope moving.
Thank you. Yeah, well, Salt, please go ahead and give your concluding remarks.
I think that I completely agree with Desmond, who talked about the systematic failure of the state, because sincerely, you find out that there's the pain in the hearts of people, most especially those who are in displaced camps, and then how they are also being treated. You find out that it's just one thing for you to put people in displaced farms. No matter how bad your house is, it's better than wheresoever anybody wants to keep you. And then looking at how also the state also relates to them. and not to talk less of the basic and massive challenges. These things are there, but again, like I will always tell people, look at the opportunities even where you think that those problems are. We cannot review the book of lamentation. When something happens, you use it as a springboard, no matter how. It's not all about just going and then sitting and waiting for handouts. Because these handouts that are given, even at the IDP camps, they are very insufficient. When you go around, is it in Benue, is it in Plateau, is it how they are also housed, you find out that much needs to be done. Yeah. And then he also talked about the aspect of the episode in Kwara. Quite unfortunate. People were just attacked and killed. It can be any one of us.
Yeah.
And the truth about it is that it's not how smart we are. But again, I'm glad that Honorable also spoke about one thing. You see, the mandate is for communal security, collective security of the community. It is not about you thinking that you have a fence around your house. It is about communities also coming together, putting their hands together. Yeah. The young ones should also know their roles in those communities. You don't just come and then you run into town in urban areas, you leave mothers with children at homes, and the only thing we hear is that by the time there are attacks, you see young people, vigilant people. You must keep vigil, no matter what. And we don't hear stories of what. So, like I would always say when we talk about issues of security, I ask people, go and read about moonlighting in security. Then you will know the conspiracies that also stream loud. You see people who attack, and then you see a reaction from an organized army reacting to an unorganized army. And you know that a lot needs to be done. And so for me, I think that the people need to also up their game. Yeah. The internal security, is it the police, is it the DSS investigative? They cannot give us all the security we need. They are insufficient. They are not even in their numbers compared to the ratio as we have it. So people in communities must also understand their territory and respect their neighbors and also take charge of that. The other one is about what Enenche said. Yes, Enenche, seriously, something to celebrate, life. Despite the insecurity, yes, I have mentioned that we need to also take charge. Kidnapping and abductions, you find out that insiders are also playing a big game. This is an economy running now. That people within, close to you. So we need to also live out and also speak out. For people we don't know how they made their money, we should ask. Yeah. Even if they're in our communities, they should not call you to one Thanksgiving because you want to go and eat rice. For God's sake, you would know that somebody does, I leave my village today, I go out, and then I come back as a big person in my village. And people begin to celebrate me. I do a Thanksgiving here, I do a Thanksgiving there, I do donations. People should ask questions. How did I get the money? And then we should also know that within, the devil is in the details. And it is within that people know who to come and attack. And sincerely, I must also thank all of them. Are we really independent? Yes, there is hope. But again, not the kind of hope that is paraded today on the floor, in the floor. When they say put all hands on deck, it matters whether the deck has a table on it. Right. And it also matters whether the person who is steering the ship knows the direction to which he takes the ship.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Santos Ayuba Lara Tanchak Salt. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Honorable Dauda Lamba.
You're welcome.
All of this great insight.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's been an absolute delight, really.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to wrap up on this note from Sylvia Yoyila, who says we should continue with the good work and that she's proud of everything that we do, sending regards again to our families. She says she's listening right in her car.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a fantastic evening. My name is Ponsak Fanap. Have a good evening. Yeah.
Don't just close this thing. You should also celebrate the first day. You should celebrate as well. Huh?
Yeah.
Like some roasted chicken and then something to push the chicken down will not be a bad one.
No
we'll
problem.
Look into it.
No problem, sir.
That's what the government is always saying.
Playing non-stop hits. This is JFM 101.9.
We are Nigerians. We are one people.
As Nigeria marks our 65th independence anniversary, I join millions of Nigerians and the good people of Plateau State in celebrating this historic moment of pride and renewed hope. On behalf of the Permanent Secretary, the entire staff of Ministry of Transport, I extend my sincere congratulations to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Plateau State, for his exemplary leadership and unwavering commitment to the progress of our dear state. Your Excellency, your administration's efforts in repositioning the transport sector through through improved infrastructure, policy reforms, and efficient service delivery, are laying a strong foundation for economic growth and social integration in Plateau State. As we celebrate our shared identity and aspirations as Nigerians, may this anniversary strengthen our unity and determination to build a more peaceful, prosperous, and inclusive Plateau. Announcer Honorable Jato Davo Yang, Honorable Commissioner for Transport, Plateau State.